The Cans Kickback is a group affiliated with Erskine Bowles and former Senator Alan Simpson. If those names sound familiar, it's because there was the Erskine Bowles Debt Commission where they came together and figured out how to do debt reduction, and then they proposed these things to lawmakers. So this is their thing. It's called the Fix the Debt campaign, and they came up with these policy proposals that cared first and foremost about balancing the budget and making Washington function like a, quote, middle-class family would. That's their whole thing. Like, well, if they got to balance their budget, well, gosh darn it, the government should have to balance its budget. Woohoo! Yeah, except most economists who hear people say that bang their head against the wall because they're like, you idiot, you can't make a comparison between a single, family home and their finances to a sovereign government that makes its own currency and their finances. That it's not an apt analogy. It just doesn't make sense. There's different things at play. There's different, ways to look at each one. It has its own set of variables and all that stuff. But I'm not an economist, so I'm not going to get into the details of that. But these guys are the real deal, right? They're fiscal hawks that walk the walk and talk the talk. Well, we just got word today that this group, quote, is reportedly nearly broke. Documents left online in a Google group revealed that the group is operating at a loss and that it has cash reserves of only $70,000 with commitments of $75,000 outstanding. Most of the group's money, roughly 40% last year, came from conservative hedge fund billionaire Stan Druckenmiller. So since these guys are deficit hawks, I take it they will immediately be shutting down their group. Right? No, that's right. They're not going to do that because they're fucking hypocrites. Look, here's the thing, man. Do we all have this innate, visceral dislike of debt and hatred of debt? Of course we do. The idea of debt, on a personal level, I don't think anybody dislikes debt more than I do. Even the thought of taking out a loan when I need to take out a loan for something, I'm still like, fuck it. I want to work up, save the money, and then buy it. So I get it. I'm like uber conservative with finances on a personal level like that, right? But everybody understands that in order for capitalism to function, in order for the economy to function, debt is the lifeblood. How would anybody have a car if they had to finance it, $33,000 out of pocket, plus taxes and tags and all that garbage? Nobody would be able to do it. Nobody would have the money. How's somebody going to be able to buy a $427,000 house when you make $40,000 a year and you got to pay for your kids' school and everything else without taking out a mortgage? You have to do it. You need to take out a mortgage. A mortgage is debt. A car note is debt. There are plenty of other things that we put on a tab somewhere and then we're familiar enough with the place where we can come back and pay it later. That's debt. So debt is how an economy functions. Right? Without debt, you would have like the world's most boring and world's least productive economy. So debt isn't inherently bad. I agree we have that visceral feeling like it's bad, but that the logical mind needs to override that more primitive feeling, and we need to realize that it's not all bad by definition. Sometimes you need to go a little further in debt. So, for example, most economists agree that if you're in a recession, well, the best way to get out of it, the government needs to be the employer of last resort and the spender of last resort and essentially give the economy a kickstart. Kind of like you put the batteries on the car and you start it up and it gave a kickstart, right? Same thing with the economy. Oh, look, we're in a recession and, people are struggling now and people aren't buying. All right, well, we need more consumer spending in order to keep the economy going. Okay, we'll do a little stimulus package, but that'll get us into debt. Okay, but right now we need that. We'll worry about the deficit later if it becomes a problem. If inflation starts to happen, you tweak it. This is the whole reason you have a central bank. This is the whole reason you have different fiscal and economic policies. So it shows you that even the guys who claim to be the biggest anti-debt, don't worry about that, they actually sometimes have debt too, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. They should just stop being hypocrites about it.